good morning and welcome to Locked In Stitches. As always, my name is Julie Hall. Now I'm just going to make sure that everything is coming up and working as it should. And then, oops, wrong one. Okay, so Father's Day is coming and I need to find something great to show my beloved husband how much I appreciate him being the father of my children. So what I've got here is a nice big cushion. This one is 20 inches or 51 centimeters. And I like this because it's a good snuggle cushion. And I'm going to turn it into, now some call it a reading cushion. This in our house is not going to be a reading cushion. It is going to be a cushion that can hold the remote, and that can even be used as a floor cushion if we wish. The remote or the tablet. And I found this great plaid green fabric. So I've cut that to my 51 centimeters or 20 inches, along with some seam allowance. And then I've cut this gorgeous seeded homespun, which just goes beautifully with it. And I've cut that the same size because that's going to be our envelope that we're going to fold over. And the embroidery that I'm going to do is I'm going to place World's Best or World's Best Dad, and then I'm going to do a really nice fishing design down the bottom here. Okay, so now that we've sized that up, I can get rid of the cushion. And the first thing that I need to do is look at where we're going to place our embroidery. Okay, so I've got my fabric here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that in half, because remember we're only going to embroider on half of it. I'm going to get the vertical halfway point, and then I'm also going to get the horizontal halfway point. And what that allows me to do is come through, and I can see this is my embroidery area, this is my vertical line, that's my horizontal line. I'm now going to hoop that together in an 8x12 or larger hoop. I'll be using my 9x12 hoop, and I'm going to hoop that with embroiderer's felt, because embroiderer's felt just keeps the fabric from puckering and gives it some support. Okay, so I've got my fabric here, it's all in the hoop, as is my embroiderer's felt and my stabilizer. Now, because I've had to hoop that so close to the edge, what I'm going to do is smooth everything out and then put in a basting stitch, just to make sure that everything really does, that the fabric doesn't move within the hoop. So smooth the fabric to where you're happy with it, and then stitch out your first design, which will be your basting line. So this is my free basting design that we give you guys. And now we're ready to stitch. Okay, so I've removed the water-soluble thread, and I'm going to use a mix of red and bright blue. Very masculine colours, they look great on the green. So now I've got my red threaded up and I'm ready to begin stitching. And our first colour's all finished, so we're going to come through. I've loaded up my blue here, and I'll just continue on with my stitching. Okay, so now I'm ready for the pocket, and I'm embroidering this beautiful man sleeping whilst fishing, which really does just remind me of my father. And what I've got is my design area basted in, and I've got my first colour ready to stitch. between there.
Okay, so first colour done, and I'm loving how that stitching is coming out. What you'll notice is it's not trimming, and that's because the design was done 15 odd years ago, and I need to insert the trim codes from my specific software. And it's one of those things when we're working with older designs, we do just have to tell it that that's what it's going to do. And I'm loving the wood grain that I got into these designs. And you'll see as it comes through, there really is some beautiful texture. Now, because this is stitching in a whole other area, that is why I can now trim that stitch out. Okay, and of course, when you are in a situation where your trims don't automatically happen, always trim in between colorways. Now the next thread that I'm going to use is for the rope. And I'm really liking this this multi-tonal colour, and I think it will go well. So it's a bit of a suck it and see. Multi-tonals are always difficult to get quite right, but I think this could work well. And look, this is a 6-colour design, so there's not that many colours, but it really does just give such a descriptive, beautiful look And the detail in the rope is just beautiful.
Okay, so we'll trim just that last colour, and now we're up to my hat and pants, and I've chosen a denim-y colour, and once again this is just using up whatever threads are in my stash. And because these threads aren't the best quality, they've been around for yonks and yonks, you may need to use a little bit of thread serum to get them through. But I really do hate the idea of throwing something away. Just want to trim that before it stitches over itself. Okay, so we'll come through and we'll do our trim. And the stitching's just coming up beautifully. Now, I wanted to do a khaki style jacket, and I found this. So once again, it's one of those trashy ones that I bought years ago.
Not sure how it's going to go. I am going to put just a dab of thread serum on it, just to help it. And I can already feel this feels quite chunky as a thread. I'm really missing the plot here. And I'm hoping that's going to give a nice khaki, almost camouflage style jacket effect. Oh, loving how that shirt has turned out. Okay, so again, I'm going to come through and trim. And onto our last colour. And for the jacket, I'm going to go a burgundy. Number one, because I really want to use up this thread. There's such a sense of achievement when you use up a spool of thread, isn't there? And let's go for our last colour. Okay, I am loving how that has turned out. Just trying to get as close as I can there for you. I think he looks great. So the next thing I'm going to do is come through with a damp cloth and get rid of the basting stitches, and then I will be ready to put my fantastic Father's Day cushion together. And now I've got my embroidered panel here, and you can see the first half of that embroidery is my World's Best Dad, and then I'm going to add onto that the embroidered pocket. Now you can see I've cut that to exactly the same size, so it was the 51 centimeters or 20 inches plus seam allowance, and I've added the embroiderer's felt to only half because we are going to fold that in half, and you've now got the backing of our pocket. And then I want to come through and lay that across the bottom of the project, and I'm going to use my sewing clips to hold that together. And you just want to make sure that you're clipping through all of those layers. Okay, and now I just want to stitch around the bottom there to hold all of these layers together.
22. That's incorrect. What was it? It was a Winchester 33. It was in 1959. It was my father's gun. Anything before 64 is a collector's item.
Now, all you have to do is show me the pictures of the truck when you gave it to him, and then you got it back. What your claim is that you had to Winchester rifle back,
So right here
which
I
you may
have.
have to get from your father. You may have to get from your father. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Before and these are after. After this,
You know,
they put a primer on it before.
Full colors on there. That's all I wanted. That was repairing the damage on the truck.
looked better before.
It looked worse.
Not to me. How many hours did you spend doing whatever you had to do?
For several months before our confrontation, we worked 7, 8 hours a day.
Now I'd like to see a bill from somebody. Whatever work this was.
Right. So I have right here $1,500 for the.
Once that stitching is all completed and the front of your cushion is all held together, I'm going to come through and from the leftover fabric, I'm going to cut 3-inch strips, and I'm going to attach, and this is going to become the flange on our pillow. So I'm going to attach that top and bottom and then on the sides. Okay, so we've got our border or our flange on, and we're now up to putting the backing on. Now for the backing, what I like to do is cut 2 pieces the size of our cushion. And once we've got those pieces, we're going to come through and fold them in half. Now, if you are short on fabric, you can fold them a little less. And that's still going to work. And then we lay that over our outline. And clip. And then we come through and take our second piece. Now fold it over edge always to the middle. And again, just going to be a little bit stingy with that. And that just gives us more fold over to keep our cushion in place. And we're going to pin, and then we're going to stitch all the way around. Now, because of the type of cushion this is, you don't have to leave any open seams. And next up, we're going to take our scissors, and I just want to clip the corners so that we get nice square corners. Before we turn our cushion right side out. So take your cushion and turn it in, and as you go about it, just try and make sure that those corners are as nice and square as you can make them. Okay, once we've done that, we are going to come through and press. Now, to get a nice sharp edge, what I was always taught to do was press flat and then bring those corners up and you can roll that fabric. And we just want that edge to be as crisp as we can make it. And look, it's always easier when I'm not going over 6 layers of fabric. Total honesty there. And then we come around and repeat that. I'm just going to see if there's any, and yeah, I can already feel. So the green fabric here is quite a soft fabric. Which does make it just a little bit more troublesome to get that perfect edge on. I do love that green plaid fabric though. I think it's coming up so well. On the final side. And now we're going to ditch stitch right the way around our flange, which is going to give structure to our cushion. Okay, so you can see I've got my ditch stitching foot on here, and it really is just a matter of coming through and making sure, remember slow and steady does win the race, but making sure that everything's held properly. And we stitch around. So this is known as the envelope method of cushion construction, and I think it's my favourite simply because it does not involve zippers. Now you'll see here, we've still got a couple of, so this is the thickest part obviously that we're going through, but you'll see here that we've got a couple of stitches from when I basted that bottom down. I'll take those out before I gift my cushion. And what I love about when I stitch the flange is that it means it's almost all finished. Okay, let's come and put the cushion in. Okay, so I'm just going to try and work out. I understand that there are some of you who can't hear me here. That might be the problem fixed. Let me see. Okay, so I know it's a lower audio, but I am hoping that you will be able to hear me. Okay, thank you so much for spending time with me. I'm just looking to see if there's something that I can do here to make myself more let's see if that works. Okay, are you able to hear me a little bit better now? Hopefully that will make some difference. Maybe, maybe not. So, thank you so much for joining me this week. Next week we're going to move on to the laptop bag. And if you haven't got yours yet, they are available on our website for sale. They fit a 15.6 inch laptop in, and they are fantastic to use. So, and let me come back here. Okay, other than that, we'll see you on Thursday night where I will be live. And other than that, have a stitching day, guys.